Hey Celtics Nation, what weekend it's been, right? Two completely different games, two totally different stories, but one thing stays the same. This Boston Celtics team is a roller coaster, and I am absolutely here for it. Let's start with that Friday night showdown against Philly because, man, that one had everything. The floor was blue, the crowd was loud, and by the end of the night, the Sixers were looking just as blue as the court. A 109-108 win for Boston, and the first Cup W of the season. You could feel the energy from the opening tip. 38 points in the first quarter, shutting up the crowd early, and setting the tone that this team was not messing around. Philly tried to claw back. They always do. But every time they made a run, Boston had an answer. Now, it wasn't perfect, not by any means. The Celtics had some messy moments in the closing minutes. There was that ugly turnover that made everyone hold their breath, and Joel Embiid tried to play the hero at the buzzer, but that shot wouldn't have counted anyway. What matters is that the Celtics closed it out and got that first Cup win. It might not sound like much in November, but these are the kinds of games that build character. These are the moments that test a young team trying to establish its identity. And speaking of identity, let's talk about this new-look lineup. Josh Minott starting again. I'll be honest, I didn't see that coming at the start of the year. But he's earned it. He's out there playing with heart, hustling for every rebound, diving on the floor like his life depends on it. He's not filling up the scoreboard, but you can feel his impact. And then there's Neemias Queta, 19 minutes of pure effort. It's wild to think this guy has gone from a question mark to a solid rotation player this early in the season. He's physical, he sets strong screens, and he's figuring out how to make his presence felt on both ends of the floor. Derek White and Jaylen Brown continue to be the engine of this team, even when the shots don't fall. Jaylen, man, this dude is locked in. Over 53% shooting through 7 games? That's ridiculous efficiency for someone taking the shots he does. He's averaging 25 points, 4 boards, and 4 assists, and he's doing it without forcing things. It's like he finally found the balance between being aggressive and letting the game come to him. He's playing free, confident, and completely in rhythm. When Jaylen plays like this, the entire offense opens up. Now, Peyton Pritchard, let's talk about him. You can see he's searching for it, man. Every time he gets a clean look from 3, you want that ball to drop so bad. It hasn't happened yet, but you can feel it coming. He's shooting a brutal 18% from deep, but those are good looks. They're in rhythm, they're open, and eventually they're going to start falling. And what I respect is that he hasn't let the shooting slump define his game. He's rebounding, he's defending, he's pushing the pace, and finding ways to help the team even when the shots won't drop. You can't ask for much more than that from a young guard trying to prove himself in a crowded rotation. And then, man, how about Hugo? I gotta admit, I've been saying his name wrong this whole time. Thought it was Hugo, but it's Hugo. My bad, Hugo. But listen, this guy is pure energy. He steps on the floor, and the tempo just changes. He's chaos, in the best possible way. In 15 minutes, he had 5 points, 5 boards, 2 assists, and 2 steals. It's not about the stat line, though. It's about the presence. The man plays with zero hesitation. He crashes the glass, he runs the floor, and he brings that infectious hustle that every good team needs off the bench. I'm not even a jersey guy, but if they keep selling his energy like that, I might have to grab a Hugo jersey myself. Anthony Simons deserves a shout-out too. 19 points in 29 minutes, knocking down a few big threes and giving the second unit some much-needed spark. You can see he's still adjusting to his role, but there's something there. And while we're at it, how about Sam Hauser and Xavier Tillman coming in and giving solid minutes? Everyone who touched the floor made an impact in that game. That's what you want to see from a deep team like Boston. Next man up mentality, and it's working. Rebounding was another story altogether. Boston absolutely dominated the glass. 45 total rebounds, and 16 of those were offensive. They out-rebounded Philly by 5 overall, but nearly doubled them on the offensive boards. That's how you win close games. Effort plays, second chances, and pure hustle. Hugo had 3 offensive rebounds. Minott had 3. Hauser had 3. You can't coach that kind of energy. When everyone crashes the boards like that, it becomes contagious. That's the kind of team identity that wins in April and May. And let's not forget, these are still early days. The rotations aren't set in stone. Guys like Jordan Walsh and Chris Boucher didn't see minutes in that one, and that's okay. MAZZULLA is still experimenting, still figuring out which combinations click. But what's becoming clear is that players like Minot and Hugo have forced their way into the conversation by simply outworking everyone else. You can't teach effort, and these two are proving that hustle still matters in a league obsessed with spacing and analytics. Now, switching gears to Saturday's game against Houston. That one was a reality check. A classic schedule loss. Back-to-back games, short travel from Philly to Boston, and the Rockets sitting at home, rested, ready, and hungry. You could see it right away. Houston's a big, physical team. They play fast, they rebound hard, and they swarm on defense. Even if Boston had been at 100%, that was going to be a battle. The Celtics tried to hang in during the first half, but the legs just weren't there. Shots were short, rotations a little slow, and once Houston's size kicked in, it got ugly quick. The Rockets dominated the glass, winning the rebounding battle 53-36. That's a massive gap. Boston actually won on offensive boards 14-12, but defensively they got crushed 41-22. You can't win like that. Jaylen Brown, who'd been red hot, cooled off a bit, 12 points on 6 for 14 shooting. Derek White couldn't find the rhythm either. And once MAZZULLA saw the game slipping, he pulled most of the starters early to save their legs. Quetta played 15 minutes, Minot 19, and both battled hard, but it was clear this one was getting out of hand. There were a few bright spots, though. Baylor Shyman finally got some real minutes, 23 of them, and man, did he deliver. 4 for 5 from deep, all those corner threes dropping like clockwork. That's exactly the role he needs to carve out. Defend, hit open shots, make smart decisions. 17 points, 5 boards. That's a statement performance for a young guy trying to earn a rotation spot. Jordan Walsh got some time too, finishing with 10 points, showing flashes of confidence, but again, Houston was just too big and too disciplined. When you look at that Rockets lineup, it's ridiculous. Josh Okogie, Amen Thompson, Jabari Smith Jr., Kevin Durant, yes, the big KD himself. And then off the bench you got Tari Eason, Steven Adams, Clint Capella, all massive bodies who crash the paint and contest everything. Every drive was met with a wall of 7-footers. KD was surgical, 26 points on 8 for 11 shooting, while Thompson nearly put up a triple-double with 17, 9, and 8. That's tough to match when your team is coming off an emotional road when the night before. Still, even in that loss, you can see the identity forming. Boston is scrappy. They fight. They don't quit. That kind of effort, even in defeat, builds habits. And right now, that's what matters. The record sits at 3 wins and 4 losses. Not ideal, but not disastrous either. The goal was to stay around 500 through the first 10 games, and they're right there. The East is wide open. Nobody's running away with it. The Sixers and Bulls have the best records right now. But come on, it's early November. Milwaukee's figuring things out. The Cavs are inconsistent. The Heat and Knicks are hovering around the middle, and everyone else is bunched together. This Boston team has pieces. They've got depth, they've got heart, and they're building chemistry one grinded-out possession at a time. Friday's win showed what they can be when they play connected and disciplined. Saturday's loss reminded them what happens when the legs go and the focus slips. Both lessons matter. Both games tell the story of a young team learning how to win together. And trust me, they're getting there. Now, as the dust settles from that back-to-back, the focus shifts to what comes next. The schedule doesn't slow down, and that's when you really start to learn what kind of team you've got. Boston's got Utah coming up, then Washington, and a couple with Orlando. On paper, those might look like lighter games, but in this league, there are no freebies. Every team can catch you slipping if you're not locked in, and the Celtics have to prove they can handle business on the nights when the adrenaline isn't pumping. Jaylen Brown has already stepped into more of a leadership role, and it's starting to show in his body language. He's calmer, more patient, less reactive when things go wrong. Even in that Houston loss, you could see him talking to the younger guys on the bench, pulling them aside, trying to keep the group focused. That's the next step for him. Everyone knows he can score. That's not the question. But can he be the steady presence this roster needs when the momentum shifts? So far, it feels like he's embracing that challenge. Derek White, too, is figuring out his rhythm. The shooting hasn't been there consistently, but his defense has been elite. The way he fights through screens, rotates, and contests shots, that's the backbone of Boston's defensive identity. He doesn't need to hit 5 threes a night to make an impact. What he needs is to keep doing the little things that don't show up on the stat sheet, but win games in the margins. And then there's Peyton Pritchard. Man, every time he steps on the floor, you can see the effort. He plays like someone who knows his minutes aren't guaranteed. The shots will fall eventually. They always do for shooters who keep their mechanics solid. But the biggest thing is he's not shrinking. He's still pulling from deep, still pushing the tempo, still playing with confidence even while shooting under 20% from 3. That takes guts. When that first hot streak hits, and people will remember how he kept grinding through the cold spell. What's really encouraging is how Joe MAZZULLA is managing the bench. He's mixing things up, testing combinations, and giving guys like Baylor Shyman and Hugo real chances to prove themselves. Shyman's breakout against Houston wasn't just a fluke. You could see the confidence in his movement. He's comfortable in the corners, doesn't hesitate to shoot, and plays within the system. That's the kind of player every contender needs, someone who knows his role and executes it perfectly. Hugo, though, is a different story entirely. He's unpredictable in the best way. You never quite know what he's going to do when he checks in, but you do know that he'll inject life into the game. Every team needs that kind of wild card off the bench, a player who disrupts the rhythm of the opponent and swings momentum just by playing harder than everyone else. Watching him dive for loose balls, crash into the paint, and run the floor at full speed is contagious. You can see his energy pulling the rest of the bench along with him. Josh Minott deserves a ton of credit as well. His development has been one of the best surprises early in the season. He came into training camp as an afterthought in the rotation battle and has turned himself into a legitimate contributor. The way he rebounds, defends, and cuts to the basket gives the Celtics another dimension. He had a rough moment against Houston with that behind-the-back pass that went straight to the other team, but that's part of the learning process. What matters is how he responds. You can't fault a young player for trying to make a play. You just hope he channels that aggression smarter next time. The team as a whole is starting to find that balance between playing with pace and maintaining control. You can see MAZZULLA's fingerprints all over the offense. Lots of movement, lots of spacing, quick decisions. But when the shots aren't falling, they have to find ways to grind. That's where rebounding and second chance points come in. The performance on the glass against Philly was a blueprint. If they can bring that same intensity every night, they're going to be in every game no matter how the offense looks. And yeah, 3-4 isn't the prettiest start, but it's also not the full picture. Context matters. They've faced good teams early, they've played through injuries, and they're still figuring out rotations. When you zoom out, it's actually a solid foundation. The goal is consistency, not perfection. You want to see the defense hold steady even when shots don't drop, and you want the offense to stay patient when runs from the other team happen. That's what separates playoff teams from the rest. But before we continue, please remember to subscribe to the channel and give the video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest news about the Boston Celtics. Feel free to share your thoughts on the news in the comments as well. A storm seems to be brewing in Boston as whispers around the Celtics locker room hint at tension reaching a boiling point. According to sources close to the team, head coach Joe MAZZULLA allegedly snapped at a veteran player during a heated exchange, reportedly saying, "Don't play with me anymore." While the identity of the player has not been officially confirmed, the incident has set tongues wagging across the league. The Celtics, who have been riding high in recent seasons, now face questions not just about their on-court chemistry, but about the relationships behind closed doors. Rumors suggest that the confrontation did not happen in isolation. Teammates who witnessed the exchange reportedly described it as intense and pointed. Some insiders hint that this veteran, known for being a locker room leader, may be feeling increasingly marginalized under MAZZULLA's system, leading to tension that could spill over into team dynamics. What's fueling the gossip is that this isn't the first time the Celtics have been linked to internal drama. While the team continues to focus on playoffs and high expectations, murmurs in Boston suggest that MAZZULLA's patience might be running thin, especially when veterans question rotations or minutes. The phrase itself, delivered reportedly in frustration, has been interpreted by some as a warning that the coach is prioritizing younger talent or different leadership styles, leaving the veteran in a precarious position. The league, ever attentive to locker room developments, has already started speculating about potential fallout. Could this be a signal for a mid-season trade, or merely a flashpoint in a high-pressure environment? Celtics fans are naturally anxious, watching for signs in upcoming games, subtle benchings, reduced playing time, or public statements that may clarify the tension. Analysts are quick to note that MAZZULLA has always been vocal about accountability and team culture, but this incident, real or rumored, may define his relationship with his veterans going forward. For now, all eyes remain on Boston, as whispers of "don't play with me anymore" continue to ripple through sports circles. Whether it's a momentary clash or a prelude to a major shakeup, one thing is clear. The Celtics locker room is far from quiet, and the story is just beginning to unfold. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the Boston Celtics, please subscribe to our channel and give the video a like. We always appreciate your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.